Right, boys, back with the YouTube video. I don't really know exactly where this is going, but I just want to talk about the last 2 months of my life. It's been pretty hectic, to say the least. So if you don't already know, I made the move to Dubai about 2 months ago. Permanently, we're living here. We've just got our apartment. We've been living here for about a month. And if you haven't been living under a rock, there's been quite a lot that's been going on in the world. And as well as that, there's been a few things that are going on, and settling into a new country. There's been a lot, to say the least. Now, yeah, we've been there for nearly 2 months now. It has been the most intense period of my life, I would say, just with the big transition and what else is going on in the world. If you haven't been living under a rock, there's a situation going on, which I'm not going to name on this video, but if you haven't been living under a rock, you'll know exactly what that is. I'm pretty close to it, and it's been pretty intense. We've been settling into a new environment, a new home, in a brand new country. There's been pressure with business within the transition of moving from one country to another, settling, and finalizing my residency. And there's been a lot going on. Now, as well as that, last night, stop it off, just heading into April now, my phone decided to magically just break down. And I got something apparently called the white screen of death on the iPhone, which I've never actually experienced before. And basically it's on, but it's clearly gone flat now, but it's just not working. But we've just spent the entire morning, nearly 5 hours running around trying to get my new iPhone. We've got it, we're here, and that's done. But whilst I was waiting to finish with the iCloud backup, I just want to make this video and just run through a few things and give you my experience of what has been going on. So I love discomfort. I really do. I love pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, and I would not change anything over the past 2 months. Yes, they have been probably the most intense 2 months of my life with the transition and what's been going on, and tornadoes and sandstorms the other night and Ramadan and everything going on at once, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Now, why is this? Because if I fast forward back to a couple of years ago, let's say 3-4 years ago, in my early 20s, I was in a position where I felt incredibly stuck with not only my physique, but my mental health and my actual own self-identity. And I figured out the reason for that is because I kept breaking my own promises to myself. I never stepped outside of my comfort zone. I would always choose what felt right in the moment. I'd always be playing it incredibly safe. And that just led to an extreme amount of uncertainty in my life. I didn't know where I was going. And going over my, if I rewind back to the start of my personal development journey and really just focusing on me and prioritizing me, I have really learned over the past few years that prioritizing yourself, your self-development, making sure you've got correct structure and you're prioritizing your training and nutrition, eating good food, cutting out all the bullshit in your life, you will get to a position where you're pretty confident. Now, why is this? Why is my confidence just increased when I've started to prioritize me? And that is purely because I follow through on what I say, I don't break my promises, and I just prioritize myself, my training and my nutrition. And every single time that I set out a task, I get it done. Now, rewinding back to a few years ago, I'd always tell myself things I needed to do. I'd always tell myself I needed to change. I'd be starting again on Monday. Maybe sometimes I'd even wait until things quieten down and wait for the perfect time to start again. And that just kept me in a constant cycle of starting over and being stuck in this horrible position that I didn't want to be in. Now, fast forward to now, the past 2 months of my life have been very hectic, but I've been able to manage this. I've been able to push through these hardships and these adversities. Why? Because I have mastered the art of self-discipline and getting into shape. One thing that I've learned, which I always teach within my community and with my one-to-one clients, it's not just training and nutrition and getting in great shape and having the six-pack. Because sure, that is having the six-pack, the big biceps, the nice chest, the tan, and feeling more confident where you can approach more people and go on dates and really do the things that you want to do, but you can't actually do because there's a couple of things that have been holding you back. That is because I prioritize myself, and I have regained this. I've almost gained this brand new self-identity. Now, getting in shape, as I said, it isn't about the six packs. It's not about feeling a little bit more confident. Sure, that is the byproduct, right, of getting into great shape. You've got the six pack, but the confidence and the identity doesn't come from that external physical look. It comes from reframing and seeing yourself as a completely different man, a new man. If you want to achieve your dream physique, and if you want to get into incredible shape and be that confident level 10 version of yourself, the man that you've always wanted to be, that confident version of yourself doesn't come from having a six pack. That confident version of himself comes from keeping his own word. That comes from following through, sticking to structure, executing daily, regardless of what is going on externally and what is going on in his life. It's really just about becoming the man who follows through on what he needs to get done. Because even in hard times, when he faces adversities and hardships, that man knows that he can push through anything because he has mastered the art of self-discipline within his fitness. And I always say this, in order for you to be able to push through hard times, you have to first learn the art of discipline within fitness itself. And everything that you learn within fitness and getting into great shape can then be applied within real life. Because, you know, if I look at the past 2 months, do you think that do I think that I truly would have been able to get through this without giving up if I wasn't in great shape and I didn't go on this journey? Heck no, like not at all. The reason why I have been able to get through this period within my life is purely because I have gained this self-identity within where I know that I'm truly capable of handling anything that comes my way. You know, the sandstorms, the conflict, the phone situation where I've been traveling to, you know, shops here and there. I wasn't able to access my online banking because obviously my phone wasn't working. It took me 5 hours to get my new phone today. But guess what? I kept calm, I kept resilient, and I kept going until I got it. Because I've learned the art of delayed gratification. And that discipline that you really gain from fitness, that then carries on into everything, guys. So I'm talking your business. I'm talking the decisions that you subconsciously make on a day-to-day basis. I'm talking the stress, the cortisol, the hard things that you are going to deal with within business. If you're finding that you're struggling with it right now, it's because you haven't learned the discipline within fitness. When you're in great shape, you'll just be able to find that you can handle these situations so much better. When you're lean, when you've got that aesthetic body, when you're lean and confident, it's not the confidence, it's you knowing that you are the man who can just follow through on everything. I've just learned that most men don't struggle because life is hard. They're struggling because they've built zero proof within themselves internally that they can actually handle the hard things. You know, these past 2 months have been very new to me. I've not had to deal with these things before and move into a new country. It's a big step, let alone if you move out in your same country to a new apartment. If you move and, you know, complete a brand new residency, you become a resident of a brand new country. There's all sorts of going on, and not everything goes so smoothly. Before, you know, if I rewind back to a few years ago, I just wouldn't be able to handle a single thing that has been going on over the past 2 months. And guys, what I'm trying to say here is getting in shape is not about the six pack. Of course, it is a byproduct and it's great. We all want to feel more confident in our own body. But we've got to look at this with a long-term vision. We have to look at this in a way where we know that getting into shape, the good way, the sustainable way, and regaining this new self-identity and becoming that man that you've always wanted to become, it's not just about feeling more confident within your own body. It's about you knowing that you can show up for yourself, your family, relationships, business, everything within life. And you know that you are the guy who can push through anything, any form of hardship, any form of test, no matter when life throws curveballs at you, you will be able to push through it. Hardships and hard times is what is really going to allow you to grow and become your best self. If you're not doing things every single day, 1, 2, 3 things, which are pushing you outside of your comfort zone and making you feel a little bit uncomfortable, then you're going to feel very stagnant. You're not going to be able to progress. You know, if you're always choosing things which are there, instant in the moment, things which are just there on tap, then of course your growth is going to be very limited because you're not learning from failures. Failures are what allows you to grow. So do not be afraid of failing, because that is what is going to allow you to become that most confident and best version of yourself. I would not change these past 2 months for anything at all. It's been very intense. It's been a little bit overwhelming. But I can feel myself growing, really growing. And this is what I always teach within my one-to-one and, you know, within my community, and what I speak about with my clients on calls. you know, it's great having the six pack and it's great dropping 10, 15, 20 pounds, but that's just the byproduct. It's more about becoming the man that you want to be every single day. It's more about becoming that guy who knows that he can push through hardships and that he can face any form of curveball that is thrown his way within life. And that is what it is truly about. Let's see if this is updated now. We're in. It took me about a couple of hours to get this set up. But yeah, just please, when you get into shape, think long term, because in order for you to actually achieve the six pack and gain that physique and that dream physique that you want to become the most confident version of yourself, first you have to detach from the outcome. Second of all you need to do, it's not easy, but it is simple. You have to become the man that is worthy of carrying that identity. You have to focus on the micro habits every single day, throughout the day, and perform at your highest self as a man throughout the entire day to become the guy who is worthy of sustaining the results that you want. I've seen it time and time over again with clients before they come to me. They've got into shape, but then they've yo-yoed again. Why? Because they don't carry the identity of the man who is worthy of the results that they want. And that is why so many people end up back at square one. It's because they're not following a routine. They haven't got the correct structure in place that actually fits around their life. Once you have this in place, and you have a routine and a structure which fits around your busy schedule, you have a routine, you have structure, and you have the accountability, day in, day out, after a few weeks, after a couple of months, it becomes second nature. Like now, my morning routine has been the exact same for the past year. I wake up at 6 a.m., 5:55. I go for a walk. I come back, I cold shower. I then journal. I do my push-ups, then I shower. And that has become me. Now, why do I do this every single day? Because in order for me to perform at my highest self, in order for me to perform at my best, I need to tune my body and my brain into a much more high frequency, tune myself internally into a more and increase my positive vibration so I'm able to actually set the intention for the entire day. Because listen, I did this as well, and I'm sure you're doing this currently. You wake up, you snooze your alarm, maybe you scroll on your phone before your feet even touch the floor. And those 30 minutes, those first 30 minutes are the most important 30 minutes of your day. If you take it slow, if it's all over the place, there's no routine, your entire day is going to look incredibly all over the place. It's going to be rushed. You're not going to know how to handle these situations. And that's why it's so important that you become that highest version of yourself inside first for you to actually be able to sustain, let alone achieve the results that you want. Getting into shape, it's not just for the short-term vision. It's not for the physique. It's about you becoming the man that you truly want to be. That is it. If you're in a position where you're feeling very stagnant, you're not happy with the direction that your life is going in, but you want that dream physique, you want that lean, aesthetic, confident physique, but also you just want to become the man who can handle life when life lies, right? Then my DMs are always open. You can drop me a DM on Instagram. I actually have a form below where you can fill in the pre-app form. We can jump on a one-to-one call. We can discuss your number one goal, your number one struggle, and we can give you a game plan to help you achieve your goals. So my DM's are always open. There's a link below. Click the link. And as always, guys, see you later.